When I was in my early 20s, I was a loan processor at a local bank. As my coworker and I reviewed real estate applications, we'd dream about what it must be like to be able to make $50,000 a year. Man, that seemed like so much money. And we were certain that we could buy anything we wanted, we would be able to choose wherever we wanted to live, and that all of our worldly problems would just simply dissolve if we could make that kind of money. Life would be so grand. As the years went by, I climbed the ranks in the real estate finance world and far exceeded that goal I had dreamed about with my friend in that tiny little office. My husband and I eventually built the house of our dreams, and I essentially had all I could want. Of course, I now know that I had it all wrong. Success is so much more than what we accomplish or have. Today, I want to share with you some of my thoughts on success and challenge you to look at it from a different view. I hope you'll stick around. Welcome to Longing for More, where Christians come to strengthen their faith, revive their soul, and learn to live their lives with a sense of fulfillment and peace. Listen each week to learn how to incorporate your faith into your daily activities, stop wandering through life feeling empty and unfulfilled, and begin to live your more. Let's get started. Success is often measured by how much wealth we accumulate, the height of the ladder we climb, or the honors we receive. We create goals, we work towards them, and then we decide if we've succeeded by whether or not we've reached that goal. We hardly ever give ourselves credit for anything that we've accomplished before we reach the entire goal. Years after I accomplished the goals that I had set as that young professional sitting in that little office at the bank, I began to feel like something was missing. I felt that God was calling me to more. I retired from my career in housing, and I started my journey as an entrepreneur. As I learned marketing for my business, I devoured Zig Ziglar's CDs for tips and inspiration. I enjoyed his stories so much, but one that I resonated with the most was the story of the sower of the seeds. He had taken a biblical story and related it to sales. I always got a chuckle out of his advice not to focus on why people don't stick around. My take of his message was that we don't stop trying because we don't see success, because there are a lot of our efforts that are just going to not fall on fertile ground. And we can't take the lack of results as failure. There is always a lesson to be learned, and there's always something happening in the background that we don't know about. That's an important message for us today as well. Though success in this world is something that is good to strive for, it shouldn't be our primary goal. The Bible tells us to seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be given to us. In the first chapter of Psalms, we are reminded that we are to delight in God's law and meditate on it day and night. If we do, we will prosper in all that we do. But prospering in all that we do doesn't mean that we won't avoid failure or challenges, and it isn't a promise that we will be healthy, happy, and wealthy. What it does mean is that when we follow the wisdom God provides in His Word, we will bring honor to Him, and we will do the work that He wants us to do. It is a basic requirement of having a meaningful life, one that is useful to God. Sadly, too many of us are too busy focusing on the things that spell success in this world, and we miss out on the really incredible things that God has planned for us. Too many times we are either too busy, we're distracted, or we're fearful to take actions that He asks us to take. When that happens, we miss out on not just the special events sometimes, but sometimes those small moments of connection or rest, or even just the satisfaction of helping another. Those distractions truly are our lives. But if we keep our focus on God, we keep that communication line open with Him, then we will see the opportunities that He provides for us for really serving Him. We're going to recognize the distractions that are taking us away from His purpose, and we will also recognize those that are really His purpose in what He intends for us. And then we will also have the courage to do the things that He's asking us to do. And He will also give us the time and make us available to do those things. It's crazy how He will make up time, quote, lost, doing the serving that He's asking us to do. If you feel like you are aimlessly wandering through life without direction, you may not be fulfilling the purpose that God has placed before you. Trust me, I have been there. It's not always easy to follow where God wants us to go. At first, I invested a lot of time and money in figuring out how to follow someone else's path. Each time I failed when I was trying to do it the way somebody else did it, I would try and try again. I was so focused on being successful in the world's eyes, that is, that I took my eyes off of the real goal, and I took a wrong turn or two. But as I shared in my book, there are no mistakes that God cannot fix, and nothing is wasted in God's economy. He truly does use every misstep, blunder, and crazy sidetrack to lead us where He needs us to be. Learning to fully trust God has been a huge lesson for me. I was constantly trying to fix every problem, control every situation, and make things happen on my schedule and in my terms. I ended up exhausted and overwhelmed. Each time something didn't work out, I would drop that plan and start a new one. I was determined not to fail. I kept investing more and more resources and time into courses that kept me doubting myself and my purpose. And then it occurred to me that the God who created the world certainly could bring me success if that was the path that He intended for me to have. So I started looking for the lessons in my, quote, failures. I questioned what, if anything, was, quote, wrong. And I started realizing that many times it was more about the timing than the project. I also realized that the work I am doing is too important to stop. People need to stop living in doubt and fear and start living the life that God created them to live. Just because I couldn't see the immediate results didn't mean that the work wasn't needed. God had provided everything I needed to survive. And maybe, just maybe, success meant more than how many clients I was getting or how many times the podcast was downloaded. When I was able to turn the worldly perspective upside down, I look at success from a completely different view. I look at it from a biblical view instead. I began to see that I was not a failure at all, but I am being called to look at success from a different view and to trust God with the outcome. I love how Dallas Jenkins of the series The Chosen said, "You don't need to feed the 5,000. You just need to show up with the loaves and the fish." And that is a message for all of us. It's not our job to take it to the very ends. Our job is to do what God is calling us to do moment by moment and day by day. And truly the only way we can do that is to be in His Word, to be in prayer, and to listen for His direction in our lives. And that, my friend, is how we define success. We keep our focus on Jesus, and we let Him take care of the details that we have no control over. We keep doing what He asks us to do. We be obedient. But as long as we are on this earth, He's going to bring the people into our lives that we need to serve, and He will allow us to serve those. And sometimes we need some encouragement and support to do that because it's not always easy. The worldview is so different than God's view. And that's why I am trying something all new right now in this season. It's one of those things where I wanted to do it. I planned on doing it years ago, and then I got pulled off track and I chased this idea and that idea. And, again, let's go back to the quote failures. But I've been learning along the way. I've been getting new ideas. And I really feel like God is saying now is the time. I want you to start a community of believers who can come together and offer an encouragement and support so that together we can stop believing those lies that the world tells us, and we can get over our doubts and our fears about what God has called us to, and we can boldly step out in faith and have the confidence to live the life that He's calling us to live. If that is stirring your heart, if that's something that you're like, yes, that's what I need. I just want to invite you to be a part of my founding member group. I put it out to my email list and just a couple of quick messages in social media. I'm going to be building this community over the summer, and then I'll have my official launch in the fall. Hopefully September is my target. But if you want to be in on the ground level, get it at a price that will be unprecedented and we'll never make it available at that again. If you want to be a part of that, let me know. Send me a direct message, text me, call me, send me an email, whatever. I'll put the link in my show notes. But let me know, and I will get you included in this group so we can have discussions and you can help build what this looks like. I want it to be effective. I want it to be powerful, but I also want to be very cognitive of not giving too much information to make it just one more thing to overwhelm. So truly, if this idea of a community where we can just come together and support each other when life gets hard and celebrate each other when we have successes, let me know. I'd love to have you be a part of that. So that is all I have for today. I just encourage you to look at your successes in life and find ways to look for God in the day-to-day and realize that it's not about all of the statistics and the analytics that the world's going to give us. It's about being obedient and seeing God in just our everyday lives. So I want to thank you for stopping by today. I know your time is valuable. I know you have a lot going on, and that you are here means so much to me. So I look forward to talking to you next time when we talk about patience. And in the meantime, I just ask that you go, you be blessed, and that you always, always live your more.